Hey folks, John Simpson here with the Biz Rockstars here. I'm with my good partner here, Joe Kronk, here on the East Coast. We're just hanging out here today, having a little conversation on the internet. And one of the things we wanted to do was talk about, the difference between SpinQast and VStream and these streaming media players, let's call them. And one of the things we wanted to set straight really and bring it really to the table right away is, we were all in at VStream in the beginning and really saw it as a positive. It was the first to market, the ability to go out and build a team and make your money back and pay for your box and do all that. And it all made sense at first, but we were always a little concerned about that $349 price point of the box. And, then a few weeks later, I got the box and started testing how it worked and all that. And I can tell you it worked. I don't think it worked fabulous. It took a lot of time for me to really search for a show or a movie or whatever. But when I did find one, it worked and it worked decent. But I don't think most people are going to work that hard at trying to find that kind of show. So, with that said, what I'm going to do is really flip it over to my partner here. And Joe, let's start this off and, keep it above water and what we think is going on in the industry and between these two companies. But maybe you can talk more about why the Biz Rockstars had done something we don't normally do. We're pretty loyal to programs, but we saw the writing on the wall and we had to make a flip. And with Paul Nash coming out with SpinQast, we saw something incredible and a price point we could take. Maybe talk from your perspective of what you think and why we did that.
Yeah, sure, John. I appreciate it. And, I think, like you said, we just want to set the record straight here, on why we made the change really from VStream to SpinQast. And, there's a lot of people out there, VStream itself, that have kind of been bashing us. And that's too bad, really, because we're not bashing that company. The bottom line is that people are tired of paying their cable bills. I mean, that's the bottom line here, that people are really tired of that. And this new technology that's been in the works for, I would say about 5 years now is finally getting perfected. It's really disruptive technology where now we can basically get the same content over a streaming media box. That brings us back to John, VStream, that we saw this new technology. And again, I think VStream is a good company. But right from the beginning, we were concerned, and many people on the team were concerned about initially the price point. And that's really one of the biggest things here. What I'd like to do really quick, John, is go over, we can kind of go back and forth on this, but really, it's kind of like VStream versus SpinQast and why we made that change really for the team. I mean, we didn't want to make that change, right, John? We had almost 200 people in VStream, and the last thing we want to do, like you said, we are very loyal to programs normally, and the last thing we wanted to do is to switch companies and start to build all over again. But the writing was kind of on the wall. So when you're talking, first of all, and I'll hand it over to you, John, here in a second, that I think the biggest thing really is the price point. And when they want $349 for VStream as opposed to $99, with SpinQast, you can go, and we knew it was inevitable that people were going to search around, and really the retail prices for these boxes are right around $80 to about $150. If you go on eBay, you go on Amazon. So $349 is just kind of, it's off the charts. First of all, and one of the things we found out right away, John, and you know this as well as I did, and a lot of the team members, was really the confusion of the websites. And they've got to have, when you're starting a company, you've got, of course, there's going to be a few glitches, but you've got to have your ducks in a row, so to speak. And they had different websites. You had to go from this website to this website to this back office to that back office. They were not taking credit cards. They didn't have merchant accounts in place, and that is huge. I mean, those red flags went up for us, right, John? And we have to not only think about ourselves, but think about every single member on the team. And what I'd like you to maybe address, John, is the legality, the differences between the VStream, where you can watch any movie out there, and a lot of that stuff is streaming from what they call torrents. It's really, I'm going to just say it, it's pirated material, as opposed to the SpinQast, which we know is going to be a lot cleaner and on a legal basis. So maybe if you touch on that, and then I'll come back to what I think is another huge difference is the comp plan. So what do you think about that, John, like the legal aspect of it?
Well, yeah, Joe, and you've got some great points there. And what I would tell you, I was able to order the box, have the box shipped in, but a friend of mine had the Jetstream box before that, and it's very similar to the VStream box in a lot of ways. But I've been able to have the VStream box for about a month now, and early on it was just incredible that I could search and find a movie that's in theaters now and watch it in HD on my television. And my wife stopped me midstream in a movie that was still in the theaters and said, "This cannot be legal." And there's something fishy about being able to watch a movie. I have a feeling that some of these stars in Hollywood, some of these big producers in Hollywood are going to try to put a squish on that. And so needless to say, it did play, and needless to say, I watched Woody Woodpecker from 1940. Needless to say, I found it took a lot of searching for me to find any content, number one. And most people, I have a little bit of technology background, so I'm not afraid to do that, but most people aren't going to do the work it takes to find these shows. But what Paul Nash has done, and I got to give Paul all the props in the world, he comes out of this industry 15 years ago. He put together a $200 million company 15 years ago that was all about streaming media. So he has the expertise in this arena, has the relationships, has the people that we need to have to pull this off. But what he's putting together is really a more legal feeling, whatever you want to call it, app, media box. And what I saw right away was he's categorizing it more like channels than it is like streaming. And he's filtering through the Chinese websites, and he's really doing a lot of the work that we don't have to do when we're looking for a show. So I'm excited about that. And it's a newer technology, Paul. Paul is coming out with SpinQast, a newer technology, and with the ability to plug into it and do some other things. So when you look at price point, number one, and then you look at the ability to the ease of the customer be able to use it, the user experience, I think that's where really what separates the wheat from the chaff. So maybe Joe, you can kind of touch more on the next aspect of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, and you hit it with the last point there. I was going to mention that too. It's really about the user experience. We talked to Paul about that, and it's, you know, people, like you say, they're not going to search for 15 minutes just to watch something on a cable box, you know, or a media streaming box. So it has to be very user friendly, and that's really the difference here with SpinQast. Not only the price point, the marketing materials, you know, the legality issues, but it comes down to user experience. And then on the income side, we see a huge difference too. And we can attest to again, we're not bashing VStream, but I can tell you, for anyone that wants to continue with that company, it's going to be an uphill battle to make any money. And I'm sure if you're looking at this from a distributor side, you know, you're looking to make some income, you know, I would think fairly quickly, like we are, and for long term. And that's the two aspects here of the comp plan that I'd like to just touch on. You know, we had almost 200 people, right, John? And I think in a month and a half into it, we had only made $50. Well, I can tell you, as you said, John, there's something wrong with that picture, right? And I can tell you, people know I'm kind of a comp plan guy, and really it became obvious to us that there's so much breakage, what they call breakage in that comp plan. There's what they call a 75-25 rule, first of all, and like we had one leg just running crazy. We had, you know, Hawaii going crazy, and we weren't getting paid on it. So if that is very frustrating when you work to build a team and you're just getting paid almost nothing on that entire team. You know, I don't know about you, John, and the people watching this, but it became very, very obvious to us that it just did not work. You know, I always say if it works for the average Joe, then it'll always work for the leaders. And in my opinion, it didn't work for either. You know, so we looked at the SpinQast comp plan, and it was very refreshing. It's very easy, actually. It's a 3x10 matrix. There's 50% matching bonus on all your personals, which is huge. They have the only, you know, basically a single line cycler that I've ever seen work in the industry. And then there's many other, you know, there's many other facets of the comp plan on top of that, John, that we're not even going to get into right now. But I can tell you, we saw on the one side with VStream, again, another thing is we saw people really not upgrading. That's a huge difference. You know, as like I told you, John, it's a good thing we could get people in for free, but it's a bad thing that we can get people in for free, because when people get in for free, they do nothing, right? So we all know that in the industry. And with this simple comp plan with SpinQast, I can guarantee there's going to be people making 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times as much. And that's what really comes down to, guys, is we made this change from VStream to SpinQast because we care about you guys. We care about every single member on our team, and we don't want you to build a team yourself for only 3 months and have it crash because of legality issues, or you're not making any money, or whatever, you know, or everyone goes to a lower price point box. We want you in this for the long haul, the long term, like we are. And we really want you on the team, and we're looking out for you. I can tell you that. So that's really the bottom line to me, John, is the future of where this technology is going and the future of the team, where we can feel assured that we're building something here massive and it's not going anywhere. And I think, to me, that's really the bottom line.
Yeah, Joe, that really is it, and that's really what this video is all about. Is us coming forward, and we could go on and on about the differences between the two companies. And when it all breaks down, what the point is that we know the price point of this box is going to do nothing but come down. It's not going to be $349 for very long. And there's 3 or 4 other companies that are holding that price point. Well, we're talking about a box that is being mass produced in China, probably costing anywhere from $50 to $100, just pure cost. And I know that Paul Nash, and I want to clear this out. Really, Paul Nash is, when we've known for quite a few years now, is one of those guys that has a heart for the comp plan to work for the average person. And he doesn't want to make a ton of money on the product itself. He's trying to make a compensation plan work. And some of the criticisms being hurled out there on the internet about Paul and about some of his so-called failures, I want to say this, between Joe and I, we've had personal conversations with Paul. I'm very confident he's going to pull this off. I know he's talking very, very big language here about where this is going. And what is exciting for where we're at right now, it's ground floor. And ground floor is a good thing. We got another 20, 25 days in this pre-launch phase. And so we're building our team of leaders right now, and we're looking for leaders that want to come aboard and see it. Maybe Joe, maybe you could kind of talk about that right now, or just the formation of where we're at in SpinQast and what we're looking to do here before the gates fling wide open, which is somewhere around the middle of May. We're going to pre-order boxes probably before that, but the middle of May, these things are going to start shipping, and we're going to have tens of thousands on order, ready to go. We're ready to take credit cards. The merchant accounts are in place. The payment processor's in place. Everything's ready to go. There's going to be no quarrels with any of that, and that's really probably as big a deal as anything we're involved in. We know this compensation plan pays well. In a former company, we used this same comp plan, and it paid very well. So, Joe, maybe talk about what our strategy is for the next 25 days or so, and why we're so excited about SpinQast.
Yeah, thanks, John. I would just kind of repeat some of what you said there, and in just saying now is the time. I would encourage anybody out there to do their own research, do their own due diligence on both companies. I think you're going to see, like we did, that it became very crystal clear. It was kind of a no-brainer when you think about price point, you think about the legality, the marketing materials that are already in place with SpinQast. You look at the user experience with SpinQast, it's going to be much, much cleaner. And really the longevity here of the company and the comp plan as well is going to be very, very rich. And I can tell you, we are very excited about that. But getting back to what you said, John, now is the time to jump in. It's not a month from now, 2 months, 3 months from now. You can jump in right now with SpinQast, and we are forming top leadership positions right now. We're at the very, very top of the company. I think, John, I think we're second or third in the entire company, and it's already reached right around 2,000 people in a couple weeks, and the momentum is just growing daily. We've seen it go from 50 people a day to now over 200 people a day, and this is just the beginning, guys, because this will explode. There's a lot of people on the other side that are throwing stones, and I can tell you why they're throwing stones, because they know that the storm is coming. The perfect storm is coming, I would say, in really the fact that we're making a lot of waves. When, we are right along the same price point that you're talking about, retail or below retail, and you can even get wholesale discounts as a retailer, a retailer out there with this that are close to $85 a box. That's incredible, really. And you make, even if you just sell one of those, there's $35, $37.50 actually, in a commission just on that first box. That's crazy. So now is the time to jump in, guys. I would say get back to whoever showed you this video. You know, if you don't have anybody, you just found us on YouTube or something, click the link here right below. But first, if somebody did bring you to this video, showing you this video, get back to them and jump in now. That's what I would say, John. You know, it kind of cracked me up. I saw another box the other day, and actually some marketers that we know promoting another box, and it didn't even have a really account plan to it. It was just an affiliate plan based, and it was, I think, $3.99. And they said, well, if you have a special discount, if you get in today, we're going to give you $50 off. Come on, guys. Come on. You know, I say wake up and smell the coffee, because technology moves the speed of light. We know that. And this whole technology is going to evolve. And like you said, John, it's just going to get lower and lower and lower. And we are right at the forefront of this technology. We're on the cutting edge, where I can tell you, just from my standpoint, most of these other companies are 6 months behind. I think that's the biggest difference. So if you want to align yourself with the right team, we have world-class leaders joining us right now, heavy hitters. And I'll say this to kind of end it for me, that, you know, Paul hasn't even tapped into his database from the old company, where he has 200,000 you know, let's call them contacts, and that's all going to flow down through our organization, whoever upgrades from that list. And that's huge. So we don't ever guarantee anybody, you know, spill over, anything like that, but there's a good chance that you're going to see some massive action here, John. So we're super stoked. And John, just wrap it up for me, because I'm going to, you know, I always start drooling about it when I think about comp plans and when we're on the right track and on the right direction here.
Well, you know, Joe, you closed it up nicely. I don't have a whole lot to say, but what I will say is this, is that when you can check both back offices, and that will tell you a story by itself. The SpinQast back office is outstanding the way it's done. And, you know, join our team today, and whoever invited you here, make sure you follow up with them. You know, right now for the next 20, 30 days, it's going to be basically a free join. But after that, it's going to be pay to play, and you're going to find out why. This $99 box is going to go like hotcakes. So with that said, you know we got to do it, Joe.
We're going to
rock
and roll, baby. And I'll tell you what, we will spin the intro right after this video, and you can see the high quality of the marketing stuff that's out there already. So we're going to roll that beautiful bean footage right now. And you know we got to do it, baby. Rock and roll, Biz Rockstars.
Hey, I don't have my glasses.
All right. Rock on.
Later, boys. All right.